Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? My name is Braxophone, and today I'm bringing you another huge Genshin Impact guide. This one's actually going to be on Ascension, what Ascension is, how to get the materials for Ascension, and ultimately how to ascend as quickly as possible. Before we go ahead and get started, I do go live on Twitch 3 to 4 days a week. If you guys are interested in seeing some live gameplay of Genshin Impact and even some Among Us, go ahead and stop by, drop a follow, and come hang out with us. With the formalities out of the way, let's get right into it. If you're interested in hearing about one section over the other, there will be timestamps in the description. So what is Ascension and why should I care? Ascension is essentially how you're going to make most of your progression in the game once you cap out on levels. Once you get a character or weapon to level 20, you won't be able to progress that weapon or level it up until you ascend the weapon. So TLDR, Ascension allows you to raise your level cap and allows your weapon to grow stronger. Ascension happens in increments of 20, so once you ascend your level 20 weapon or character, their level cap will become 40. The same thing repeats at a higher level. Once you get to level 40, you can ascend your character again to raise their level cap. At later ascensions, you will need not only more materials, but you will also need rarer materials, which we are going to cover in just a moment. So as you've probably seen on screen, Ascension does require some materials down in the bottom right when you go ahead and click Ascension Preview or just Ascend. What you can actually do here is click Item Details, and it will show you where you can obtain the item and when you can obtain the item. As of recording this, it is Tuesday, so I can actually go collect the Misfilled Lead Elixir it takes to ascend, the Eye of Perception, right this second. This brings me to my next topic, which is how to obtain Ascension items. Ultimately, there are multiple ways to do so, and because we have this item details screen, we can actually see exactly where we need to go. The places you are going to find Ascension materials are the following. In the overworld as a node that you don't have to spend any resin to loot, inside of a dungeon which takes 20 resin to loot, or killing certain mobs in the overworld, which may or may not take resin to loot, depending on the fight. For overworld spawns, if you go over to item details and you click on that item, it will tell you where the item spawns on the map, and all you have to do is go to that spot during whatever time of day is specified, and you should be able to just find some lying around in the grass or on trees or whatever, depending on what the item is. For overworld boss spawns, if you are looking for a boss that drops a specific item, you can actually go over to your adventurer's log, and over down on the side you'll be able to click bosses and then scroll through all of the bosses that are currently spawned in your world and see what they drop. If you're already here, I'm assuming that you know what resin is to some extent, but if you don't, the basic rundown of it is a stamina-based currency that you can use to get loot from specific things. You cap out at 120, and different things take different amounts of resin. For example, dungeons take 20 resin to loot, and some world bosses take between 20 and 40 resin to loot. Like I said though, it is a stamina currency, which means that it comes back over time. You will gain 20 resin back every 160 minutes, which is just over 2 hours. And if you want to fill that resin bar completely, it does take 16 hours to replenish, meaning that you should make sure to use your resin to try to get Ascension materials every single time that you have the opportunity to do so that way you're not wasting any potential items. And if you run out of resin during any time, you do have the opportunity to crack open a fragile resin, which will restore 60 resin to your stocks. That being said, you should really hold on to those as long as you can and not use them unless you really need to, because they're super hard to come by. So right now I'm doing the electro hypostasis because I need lightning prisms for one of my character ascensions. As you can see here, I need 40 original resin to loot the Leyline Blossom. However, I do not have that in my stock, so I do decide to use a fragile resin just to kind of show you guys what actually ends up happening here. And just like that, I have some more Ascension materials. And let's say I don't have enough, I can always just go to my adventurer's log and look up the boss again. Clearing harder boss content, I do recommend going into co-op. Everyone can still get the loot from the boss if they spend the resin. As far as non-resin bosses go, these are even easier to farm because they are super soloable. Here I go to my adventurer's log, I see that I need a chaos device, and see that the golem drops it, and so I go ahead over to mark the golem by hitting navigate, and then I just teleport over. We're gonna go fight the golem, and then it's gonna drop a chaos device for us, which we can use and keep farming until we're ready to ascend. Same thing with all these other bosses, we need mats, so we're gonna go ahead and kill them and just spam them in the overworld, and then we should be ready to ascend one of my weapons when I hit the adventurer rank for it. Earlier I went ahead and mentioned about how it was Tuesday so I could farm the item that I needed for Ascension. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, and we're even gonna farm a little bit extra so that way I don't have to wait till next Tuesday if I have another item that needs that material. It's worth keeping in mind that everything you ascend will usually use the same items but at a higher rarity and higher abundance. So it's always worth going into the higher level dungeons if you can to try to get the blue rarity, the purple rarity, and the orange rarity. And by now, you should have collected basically everything you need to ascend your weapon if you've been going and following this guide. All you need to do is go to the overworld and loot, fight overworld bosses, and check your adventures log to locate them and what loot they have. And after clearing some dungeons, that should be everything. So that is all I have for you guys today on Ascension. I tried to make the guide as quick and navigatable as possible. Hopefully y'all have learned something awesome today, and hopefully y'all can apply it to your gameplay. Let me know what you're ascending, let me know what's been easy and hard to farm in the comments below. And as always, if you've enjoyed the content, make sure to like and subscribe. That's all I got for you today, and I'll see you guys later. Happy ascending!